I hope you got your flippers and your goggles on, because we're gonna have to die. I hope you got your flippers and your goggles on. Hope you got your goggles and your flippers on, because we're gonna have to dive. I hope you got your goggles and your flippers on, because we're gonna dive into an interview. Hope you got your goggles and your flippers on, because we're gonna dive into a review of this Bell Star Mips DLX.
Riding down a YouTube channel, the riding down a YouTube channel, the riding down a YouTube channel, the riding down a brand new.
What's up, everybody? Chris here with the Ridin Dad channel, and it's review time. Today's review is the Bell Star Mips DLX. I'm not going to go into a kind of typical review where I list all the product specifications and just kind of by the book kind of thing. What I'm going to do is, in my opinion, what a real review should be, giving you my opinions on this helmet, because you could go to the Rivzilla website or the Bell website or the Get Lowered website and you could find all the specifications of this helmet. You don't really need me to sit here and tell you all that. You guys can read. So I am going to say some elements about it that are going to be listed, like some specs, but for the majority I'm just going to talk about my experience with this helmet. So start off with, I did buy this at Rivzilla. This t-shirt is for a sale they have going on as of the videoing of this video and not the time that I purchased this helmet, but I use Rivzilla for a lot of stuff. I use Rivzilla and Get Lowered, but they're both really good. They both have really good customer service, and I can't speak for Get Lowered because I've only started using them kind of recently. Rivzilla I've used for years, but Rivzilla, they price match. So if you find it any other place from a reputable site online and you just call them up, they'll price match it. Plus you get those, it's like the Zilla bucks, like $5 for every 100 you spend or whatever, which does add up. Okay, so I have a medium because that fit in my head. I will say they run, I think they run true to size from my experience and from what everybody else has posted. However, they do feel a little bit more snug than a lot of other helmets I've tried on. So this is basically the Bell Star. The Mips and the DLX are two kind of additions. The Mips refers to this kind of plastic, this yellowy plastic piece on the top, and it basically is another piece of plastic. It's just like a thin plastic layer that when you're experiencing a rotational force from a crash, unfortunately, that is just one more barrier that kind of helps for disperse the rotational force from getting into your actual brain and skull area. So it is just a little bit safer. The DLX refers to the face shield. The shield is the Panovision, which is very good field of view, probably the best that I've ever had in a helmet ever, whether I've been trying them on or actually using them for my own purchase. And the DLX means it's the automatic tinting version of that. So the negative part about that is that the tinting version of the shield is not pin lock ready. I don't know if this is something they're going to be rolling out within the next year or two, since this is a relatively new face screen for them. But they have pin lock ready visors, but those are not the automatic tinting. So the tinting is really good. It doesn't get incredibly dark. It obviously comes from direct 100% clear to like a dark smoke, somewhere between a light and a dark smoke. And it is really nice, especially for the overcast days. I think that's where it really shines. And it's nice not having to bring two shields with you if you're going to go on a day trip where you're riding in the sun and then you're coming back in the moonlight. So to switch the shield, if you really want to, it's very easy. You hit this tab or this little button and just push it and it's off. It's one of the easiest face shields I've ever had. So you don't even have to push the button to come back. You just put it in the slot and slide it back and it's in. So as far as shield goes, you have the up position and then you have down. And it does lock in the center. It has that little tab in the center, which a lot of people like. I just have gotten so used to the left that I just like the left because it's what I'm used to, kind of. But as far as like a city riding position, it just kind of is where it rests on the top of that gasket seal. So you can see there's a little bit of space there, but when you're riding and the wind pushes it down, it will get a little bit lower because there's not an actual spot, like there's not a spot in the hinging where it just kind of sits. It just sits on that gasket, and that's its open position, and then you just click it. I will say, when you first get this, this is really loud and really tough, and the more you use it, the better it gets. But it's still a fairly aggressive snap, which I guess is good for security of the visor position, but as far as hearing it in the helmet, it is actually pretty loud. Speaking of loudness, let's go to wind noise. 1 out of 10, 10 being the quietest helmet I've ever had, and 1 being the loudest helmet. I'd probably give it right around a 7, between a 6 and a 7. Let's go 6.5. It's decent, but you're getting a lot of ventilation in the face area, so you can't have that quiet. Speaking of ventilation, the face ventilation scheme is very good. You feel a lot of wind on your face from all the vents, which is really nice. However, the head, on the top of the head, I personally felt nothing. I rode it, you know, out of my little fairing and in it, and nothing. And my fairing cuts the wind off at about right here, so I had, you know, all the wind. But just in case it was messing with the chin air stream of everything, I rode, you know, with my head out of it, and I got nothing on my head. And being in Florida weather, head venting is very important for me, which is a reason I really wanted to get this review out sooner than later, while still giving the helmet ample time to kind of make its full impression on me, because this is a relatively new helmet in the scheme of things. The Mips portion is a little bit newer, and I have, personally on YouTube, as of this filming, I found like one other one. There's a lot of reviews where the title is a review, but it's basically just a company sharing the specs of this helmet. So it's a little over 3.5 pounds, right around just over, depending on how it sits on my scale. Not a great scale, but it doesn't feel super heavy, but it also doesn't feel incredibly light. It's just kind of average. It's not noticeably heavy. There's no buffeting, at least on my bike. There was no helmet buffeting or anything like that. It was really good at all positions, whether, you know, if you're going to be in like a full tuck or a cruiser upright, it was comfortable for all those. When you did checks to the left and right, it didn't feel like the helmet was, you know, breaking your neck, even, you know, in highway plus speeds. All that was good. So all that was really nice. Venting, you do have this one, you have a rear that's adjustable, a rear that's always open. You got these 2 tiny little vents on the sides for the ear channels, and then you got this one down here, and it is a removable chin curtain. Mine is off because I was doing some experimenting with it, but it does come with a removable chin curtain. Speaking of this angle, you have the little emergency pull tabs that say pull to remove. There's little like kind of nubbies here. You can get your finger in like this and just yank it out. It's 3 dots. I'm not going to take it out. You guys, if you're watching this review, you probably watched a lot of other helmet reviews and or have experience with other helmets, so you guys are pretty sure, I'm pretty sure you guys know how cheek pads and neck rolls are removed. I think this is called like their silver lining or something with silver, whatever. Anyway, it's supposed to be like their, you know, antibacterial, kind of coolish. 50-50. I don't feel any difference between this and anything else, but it also wasn't a bad liner, so I'll give it a pass, I guess. It's a standard D-ring, but it does have this little magnet, so once you do your D-ring business, you just kind of toss that up there, and it attaches to this with a magnet, and it stays put, so you don't have to worry about finding that snap with your gloves and everything like that. What else can I say about this helmet that is really good? The fit was good. I think the fit was very well. Like I said, face ventilation was good. So let's get down to the biggest point, which is, would I buy this helmet again, or would I buy it if I was you? That depends. Where do I live? If I live somewhere that it doesn't get to 100 degrees during the day, where it's not incredibly humid, then yeah, 100% I would buy this helmet. For the price point, especially that you're getting the face shield, it's a fog-free face shield. Everyone knows that wears in time. So in 2-3 years, we'll find out how the fog, you know, resistancy is holding up. I personally prefer pin locks. That's like the only thing that I feel 100% secure with as far as fog-free goes. I love the pin lock, but you do sometimes get a glare with pin lock at night, and like kind of like this weird fog, not fogging, but like almost like a mirrory holographic. It's kind of hard to explain, but you can tell that there's 2 layers there. So single layer face shields are kind of nice, but pin lock option would be nice in the tinting visor. I know they have ones that are not tinting, but in the tinting it would be nice. I will mention, it's worth noting that they have a clear visor with the pin lock, and if you go directly to the pin lock site, like the actual pin lock company site, they have a automatic tinting pin lock insert that works with the clear visor, but nobody else sells it, at least that I could find, besides the pin lock site. So you gotta go to the pin lock site, order like a $60 insert for pin lock, and then get another shield just to have essentially the same thing you had from the factory that you're paying an extra $150 for versus the old Bellstar. You know, I understand you're paying for the Mips technology too, but if you were to buy this shield by itself, I think it's right around 150 bucks from everywhere I've checked. So the main reason I would not buy this helmet is the head ventilation is like a 0 out of 10. And that's being real honest. So I've had a couple different helmets in the past year, and I rode with a couple different helmets years and years ago when I started riding. And with this helmet, I'll ride with the vents completely closed for like a minute or two and then open them. And usually that's when you feel like, okay, I can feel that difference. Because sometimes it's a little bit and you get so used to it that you can't feel it. But if you ride with the vents closed and then you open them, that's when you should feel the air. And I felt nothing. And I don't have a whole lot of hair going on up there. So it's not like I have a lot of hair blocking the wind flow. I lifted the helmet up. And I've tried this with different, there's like a removable head insert that's a little bit extra padding. I took that out, I put it back in, chin curtain out, bunch of different things. You know, I rode different angles to see if that helped, out of the windscreen, in the little fairing windscreen. And when you pick the helmet up off your head a little bit while you're riding, you do feel the wind. So I've seen some written reviews on this helmet that I wish I would have saw prior to buying it, but the written reviews say that I guess the Mips technology, that little plastic insert that helps with the rotational force, I guess that kind of negates a little bit of the wind flow and it makes it less able to penetrate your actual scalp area, which I believe because that, you know, that's moving all around a little bit. It's kind of, if you look at it, it just kind of moves around these little hole inserts and it has free range of just sliding around the top. So I can 100% see how that would be difficult for it. So that being said, if you don't live in an incredibly hot environment and it only gets to, you know, mid to high 80s, this helmet is a great value for the money. I think the craftsmanship is really good. The fit and finish is good. I will say my first order, this little kind of spoiler on the back was cracked here. And I don't think that was a Bell quality control issue as much as I do think it was a Bell packing issue. When I got this helmet, both times I got it, because I sent that back to Rosilla, they overnighted the next one to me. Again, really good customer service. Where that sits in the box, it sits like this, and that's basically right on the side of the box with nothing to control it from moving left to right, and something may have happened. But other than that, it is really good. I will say this is Snell certified as well as DOT. However, the Snell approval is, it's like a 2100 number. I'm obviously unprepared for this review, but it's not the highest Snell rating because there are different Snell ratings. So it is Snell approved, so you could take it to the track if you want, but it's not the highest available of safety in the Snell rating, and the ventilation up on the head kind of sucks. So overall, that's what I think of this helmet. So am I happy with this purchase? Yes and no. I do not hate this helmet at all. I like the helmet a lot. It's just that head thing is kind of a break it for me. The head venting just kills it during the summer months, especially now that I'm riding more during the day than I used to be versus riding more at night. And that just really kills it for me. Otherwise, the helmet is really comfortable. So to alleviate that issue of the head venting, I got this. So if you want to see my review shenanigans in this new guy, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. It helps me out. And until next time, guys, ride safe, have fun, Dad out.